The story begins with a boy named Sam. Sam's father, John, was playing with his pet dogs in the yard. Sam loved making videos, so as soon as he started filming his father, John jokingly let the dogs chase after him. Sam quickly ran inside the house, laughing. John was a very wealthy businessman, and every corner of his mansion reflected his success. Sam had just returned home last night after finishing his studies abroad. Inside the house, his stepmother Nenah was busy reading. Sam came up to her and started recording her video playfully. Annoyed, Nenah threw a book at him. Sam caught it and began reading fake, teasing lines from it just to irritate her. Nenah snatched the book back and told him to stop talking. But Sam, being talkative, kept joking around and suddenly asked, "You're 30 years old, right? So why did you marry my 50-year-old dad?" Nenah stayed silent, and from that, Sam understood she had married John for money. Sam was studying in college, and Nenah used to pick him up every day. That day too, Sam came out of college with his friend Maria. Nenah was waiting in the car, but didn't notice Maria. Sam got into the car with Nenah, and they drove home. On the way, Maria called out to Sam, but he didn't hear her. Later, when they reached home, Sam greeted his father. John asked about his studies, and Sam replied that everything at college was going well. John often traveled for business and only visited home occasionally. That night, Nenah couldn't sleep. While looking through her wardrobe, she found a few notes Sam had written for her, teasing ones that she didn't like. Sam and Nenah often played pranks on each other, but this time, Nenah decided to get back at him. She took out a gun from the drawer, not to hurt him, but just to scare him. Quietly, she went near Sam's room and fired a shot into the air. Sam was startled and began looking around. Then he saw Nenah standing there and asked, "Why did you fire the gun? What if it had hit me?" Nenah replied, "What did you write on my coat?" Sam laughed and said, "It was just a joke for you." While they were talking, John rushed in after hearing the gunshot. He demanded to know why Nenah fired the gun. Nenah quickly made up a story, saying a thief had broken into the house and she fired to scare him away. John believed her and took her back to their room. Poor Sam's prank had backfired. The next morning, John and Nenah were having breakfast when Sam joined them. Nenah smiled and said, "Good morning, Sam." Sam greeted her back and started eating. After breakfast, John left quickly for an important meeting at the office. A little later, Sam dressed up in a funny Japanese costume. He wanted to prank his stepmother and the house staff. Meanwhile, Nenah was in her room, relaxing and applying face cream. Sam sneaked into her room, trying different ways to scare her. When Nenah saw him, she burst out laughing. "You look like a clown, Sam," she said, giggling. Sam continued joking around, making funny gestures to annoy her. Nenah pretended to be scared and ran into the bathroom to get away from him. Sam followed her there too, still joking. In the middle of their playful teasing, they suddenly realized how close they were standing. Both grew quiet for a moment. Nenah smiled softly and wiped some of the cream off Sam's face. She looked at him and said gently, "You know, Sam, despite all your pranks, I do enjoy having you around." That night, John hosted a grand party at his house. All his business friends were there, and the atmosphere was lively. Nenah looked stunning in an elegant gown, greeting the guests with her usual charm. Sam was also at the party, spending time with his friend Maria. When Nenah noticed Sam and Maria together, a strange feeling of jealousy stirred within her. She walked over to them, pretending to check on the decorations Sam was setting up. Seeing her, Maria politely excused herself and went to another room. A little while later, Maria saw Sam again and called him, but Nenah couldn't help feeling uneasy about their closeness. Trying to distract herself, she poured herself a drink. Meanwhile, Sam and Maria went outside for some fresh air. When Nenah realized they were gone, she began looking for them around the house. Eventually, she found them near the pool. The pool area was beautifully lit, one of John's favorite parts of the house. Maria saw Nenah and invited her to join them, but Nenah smiled and told them dinner was ready. While saying this, she accidentally put a strange leaf in her mouth, thinking it was a garnish. Sam immediately noticed and warned her that it was unsafe to eat. Startled, Nenah quickly spat out, and everyone laughed about the incident. The next morning, while Nenah was doing her exercise routine, Sam came up behind her and began teasing her again. Irritated, she scolded him and lightly slapped his arm, telling him to behave, especially since John was still home. She told Sam to wait until John left for the office if he wanted to talk. After John left, Sam and Nenah had a long conversation by the pool. They talked openly for the first time about their friendship and how much they enjoyed each other's company. Over the next few days, they began spending more time together, becoming close companions. Later, John had to travel abroad for a week on business. Before leaving, he told Sam to look after Nenah, and Nenah reminded John to take care of himself. Once John was gone, the house felt different, lighter, freer. Sam and Nenah began exploring the city, going for drives and enjoying small adventures together. During one drive, Nenah jokingly asked Sam if Maria was his girlfriend. Sam laughed and said she was just a classmate. They kept driving until they reached the countryside, singing along to music and enjoying the beautiful scenery. But while they were laughing, Sam lost control of the car and it slid into a pond. Luckily, both of them escaped safely and laughed off the accident. Later, they met one of Sam's old teachers, who offered them a ride to John's factory, where they needed to check on some business work in John's absence. At the factory, Sam filmed everything, the machines, the workers, and even Nenah, so he could show John later how well things were running. That evening, they returned home and watched the videos together, smiling at their teamwork and how close they had become as family. After watching the video, Sam started walking toward Nenah, but Nenah, wanting to tease him, went to another room and quietly locked the door behind her. Sam suggested that they should go to another room, but Nenah simply sat down on the bed. Sam got a playful idea. He lifted Nenah slightly along with the mattress, but she lost her balance and fell. Nenah got a little upset, so she went back and lay down on the bed again. After a moment, Sam also lay down on the bed beside her. Just then, John returned home earlier than expected. The moment Sam saw him, he didn't seem too happy, since John had arrived a day before schedule. Sam quickly made an excuse and went back to his room. After meeting Sam, John wanted to see Nenah. Nenah, pretending to fix her hair, was in her room, but she hadn't noticed the messy condition of the bed. When John entered, he saw Nenah brushing her hair, but his eyes soon caught the disheveled bed. Something didn't feel right. Without saying anything, John quietly left the room and went outside to the yard where his gardener was cleaning. John asked the gardener about the house staff. The gardener told him that the day John left, Nenah had given all the servants a 7-day vacation. Suspicious, John went to Sam's room next. Sam's bed was also messy, and on it, John found Nenah's necklace. When he smelled the sheets, he recognized Nenah's perfume. That was enough for John to understand what had happened while he was away. Still, he wanted to hear the truth from Nenah herself. He went to her room and tried to get close to her, but Nenah made an excuse and left the room, leaving John even more certain that something was wrong. A while later, John sat alone, deep in thought. He wanted to confront Nenah, but he hesitated. After thinking it over, he decided it would be better to talk to Sam first. At the same time, Nenah was in another room, anxious and wondering how to face Sam. Just then, she heard the sound of Sam's car outside. She quietly tried to slip out to meet him, but John noticed her leaving and asked, "Where are you going?" Nenah tried to distract him, saying she was coming to him instead. John, suspicious, brought her into his room. When he tried to get close to her, Nenah stopped him. That was the final confirmation. John now knew for sure that something had been going on between Sam and Nenah. That night, John took Sam to a bar. Sam's girlfriend Maria was also there. Sitting beside Sam, John started drinking and, while pretending to talk casually, said, "Our business is running into trouble. We need the support of a wealthy family to save it, and Maria's family could be that help. If you marry her, they might invest in us." John said this not just for business, but to see how Sam would react, to hear the truth from him while he was off guard. Sam, who was already drunk, didn't answer clearly. He only said that he needed some time to think about it. The next morning, Nenah was out in the garden while John was walking his dogs. The moment she saw him, she straightened herself and tried to act normal. John walked up to her and asked how she was feeling. Nenah replied softly, "I've got a bit of a headache." John told her to take some medicine and continued his walk, but Nenah could sense it. John had begun to suspect something between her and Sam. Trying to sound casual, she walked closer and said, "Ever since you came back, you've been ignoring me." John didn't respond to her complaint. Instead, he said, "Maria's family is coming over today." With that, he simply turned and walked away, leaving Nenah uneasy. A while later, John went to Sam's room and told him, "Maria and her family are coming to meet you today. Get ready." By noon, Maria's family had arrived. Her father was with her, and he was the first to greet Nenah. After a brief chat, the men decided to go hunting in the nearby forest. Sam and Maria both loved hunting, so they paired up and went off together. Sam was cheerful and excited, but Nenah was restless and jealous. She couldn't bear to see them together. A dark thought crossed her mind. For a moment, she even wished she could get rid of Maria, but she knew she couldn't do something like that. That night, Maria's family stayed at John's house for dinner. Everyone was sitting together, laughing and eating. After dinner, Maria casually said she would go up to Sam's room. When Nenah later walked into Sam's room, she saw Maria there, but the moment Maria noticed her, she quietly left. Once Maria was gone, Nenah turned to Sam and said sharply that he should stay away from Maria. She couldn't stand the idea of Sam being close to another woman. Nenah had completely lost herself in her obsession with him, but by now, Sam's heart had started to lean toward Maria. When Nenah realized this, fear and panic filled her. She didn't want to lose him, not to anyone. Sam tried to reason with her, saying softly, "Our relationship doesn't have a name, Nenah," but she refused to listen. That night, Nenah returned to her room. John was already sitting on the bed, waiting for her. She looked disturbed, anxious. John noticed and asked gently, "Is something wrong?" Nenah didn't give a clear answer. John, instead of reacting with anger, stayed calm and thoughtful. He could have confronted them, thrown both Nenah and Sam out of the house, but instead, he decided it would be wiser to arrange Sam's marriage to Maria. Sam, too, was preparing himself for the wedding, but Nenah had made up her mind. She wasn't going to let that happen. Later Later that night, she sat beside John and started criticizing Maria, saying harsh things about her. John, however, didn't take it seriously. He simply said, "What you're thinking right now, Nenah, it's not possible." The next morning, Nenah sat alone, lost in thought. She was about to make a big decision. After a long pause, she went straight to John and said firmly, "I want a divorce." John wasn't surprised. He already knew she was doing this for Sam. He didn't argue or protest. In fact, he seemed almost relieved. So that very day, Nenah decided to proceed with the divorce. She hurried to meet her lawyer and explained everything. The lawyer said, "I'll file for divorce right away and make sure it's finalized as soon as possible. But you'll need to bring a few legal documents." Nenah asked what documents were required, and the lawyer explained everything clearly. Those papers, however, were with her mother, who lived far away from there. On the other side, Sam was playing a game with his friends. As soon as Nenah walked toward him, he stopped playing and came to her. She kissed him, but Sam quickly pulled away and whispered, "Stop it, everyone's watching." Nenah smiled and said, "I'm going to divorce John soon. Once that's done, we'll get married, and then our relationship will finally have a name." Hearing that, Sam froze. He could live with Nenah, but marriage was never what he wanted. He stayed quiet, and Nenah mistook his silence for agreement. She thought he wanted the same thing. The next morning, Nenah came to meet him again. Sam asked, "Where are you going?" She replied, "I'm going to my mother's place to get some legal papers. I'll be back in a few days. As soon as I return, I'll finalize my divorce from John. Then we'll be together forever." Sam didn't say a word, just watched her leave, realizing that Nenah had become completely obsessed with him. After she left, Sam went to John. John looked straight at him and said, "I know everything that's going on between you and Nenah. What you're doing is wrong. You should end this and marry Maria." Sam was stunned. He asked for some time to think, but John wanted the wedding to happen soon. John explained, "This thing between you and Nenah won't last. I'm the one paying for both of you. If you don't marry Maria, I'll throw you and Nenah out of this house. Forget Nenah. Marrying Maria is the right thing for you." Sam finally nodded, agreeing, though deep down he was torn apart. Back in his room, he kept talking to himself, confused, not knowing how to face Nenah. Later, he went back to John's room, saying he couldn't stop thinking about her. John poured him a drink and handed it over. While Sam drank, John said firmly, "You don't have to say anything, Sam. You just have to get married." The next day, Nenah was in her mother's city getting a haircut. Suddenly, she got a call from one of her friends. "Did you hear? Sam's engagement is happening today." The words hit her like lightning. Her heart sank. That same night, Nenah rushed back home. When she arrived, she saw a party going on in the house. No one had even told her. As she stepped through the doorway, her eyes fell on Sam and Maria standing together. They looked happy. Nenah felt her whole world crumble. Maria's entire family was there, celebrating. In that instant, Nenah realized Sam had gotten engaged to Maria, and this party was for them. Her heart shattered. She quietly walked to the other side of the house, near the pool. Tears streamed down her face as she leaned over the edge. She even tried to end her life, but couldn't go through with it. She had dreamed of marrying Sam, but he had broken her heart completely. After a while, she gathered herself and walked back inside. Everyone at the party looked at her with curious eyes, whispering. John noticed her from across the room, pale, trembling, devastated. He immediately came over, made an excuse to the guests, and led her to another room. Nenah still wanted to go outside to see Sam, but John stopped her. He took her into another room and calmly told her that he knew everything she had done, then left her there and went back to the party. Meanwhile, Sam was called over by John and taken to the stage for the engagement ceremony. Sam had broken Nenah's heart beyond repair. Her life now felt empty. The man she loved was dancing with his fiancée. In the end, John and Nenah got divorced. Sam and Maria were married soon after. After the divorce, Nenah moved back to her mother's home for good. And with that, their story came to an end. Thank you so much for watching.